I think we have not exhausted the judicial process on that particular issue. Because number one, the court had actually ruled how President Uhuru Kenyatta came up with the CAS position and the process that worked through. And they gave a proposal on how you go around creating that. So, of course, PSC went out, did public participation. There are obvious questions that have not been responded to. Number one, has anyone seen a report on how, or rather, the public participation report, for example, just beyond we giving opinion? Then there is the court ruling, of course, when LSK went to court and stopped the process. And then PSC went out and declared that, that they were clarifying, quote unquote, which in so many ways looks like it's disobeying court orders. I think it is something that the president and PSC and the people who are holding office at the moment actually need to be sensitive to. We cannot be in one way actually saying that the other government was going out doing extrajudicial. And then extrajudicial doesn't just apply to killings also. It applies to any other thing that you are doing. And you know, once you start with impunity, you can start on small things that look like a soft, like CAS position. Then what stops you from getting to harder stuff like killings? So I think we need clarity on the court order by what LSK actually was able to get in court, that the process was stopped until it's taken care of. So has PSC gone to court and actually gotten the clearance before they do this clarification that they are doing? Okay. So the president needs to actually come out and not just appear to be law-abiding in one brush and then in the other he's looking aside. It's important that we actually have this cleared. But
do we need this? Do we need this CS position within the executive?
I've not looked at the needs assessment that did that, but I've looked at the proposed job description. There was, you know, the guys who sat down and did the constitution, they meant well. But we all have actually realized that there are gaps. A lot of gaps. You realize that even the two houses are not harmoniously working very well. Right. Devolution and the devolved units in the national government have not worked out well effectively. And then there is a third layer of government, that is what is created under the Urban Areas and Cities Act, for example, municipalities, towns, and everything else. Devolved units have actually killed that particular bit of it. It's not working. So some of these things, we actually still need a constitutional audit. So there could be, for those who actually are practicing statecraft at the level of the president, need for that. But have they communicated effectively? So rather than just look at it from a point where we don't need it, all of us actually agree that the executive needs to be accountable to parliament. Somehow the constitution did not allow CSS to go to parliament. There has been a mismatch. So those gaps need to be taken care of, but done properly according to the law.
Okay, let's hear from Prof then, husband.
Yeah,
CS position, quite a pain in the
Zainab, of course, there are a number of things that the Uhuru government did that were not right, and one of them was this CAS position, and that government was known to disobey court orders and not to listen very well to the judiciary. We know why this CAS position was created. It's not because there were any gaps in the constitution. This was created simply to spread benefits to several politicians. And it was actually unconstitutional. That's why the courts actually got it out. The president finds the current president, William Ruto, finds himself in that same situation, that he has this crowd that he has to appease. And therefore the CAS position looks very attractive to him in terms of additional positions that he can actually create. But the situation has not changed at all. The labor courts threw this thing out. All the lawyers, including Arnold here, were actually opposed to this, and that's why they went to court in the first instance. They are the guys who have in-depth understanding of the Constitution. So I don't think flip-flopping on this matter adds value to anyone. The position doesn't exist. The position is unconstitutional. The position was created without due process of the law, including public participation and so on. And yes, the president can as well proceed with the same impunity that his predecessor, with whom they served in the same government, ignored all the court bits, and he can proceed and appoint CASs, and they can stay for as long as they want. We've seen that happen in the country before, and will not be shocked if it continues. But otherwise, it is very clear this position is unconstitutional as far as the architecture of our constitution is concerned and the composition of the executive. There is actually nothing unclear about it.
All right. Yes, husband.
Well, I think the court really pronounced itself on this. Well, I'm not a lawyer, so whether it is unconstitutional or not, whether it is filling a gap in the Constitution, is neither here nor there, because the issue was public participation. And what the current government has done is that it has taken that direction of taking it through PSC, public participation. Guys applied. And in as much as, you know, we are talking about rewarding political allies, who didn't make it, I think any government that, any political party that forms government, you know, has that leeway to put everything in place to deliver on their promises. And I think it's only in order, given what the Kenya Kwanza team had proposed, how they were going to deploy these CAS as a link between parliament and the executive. It's only in order that they find a mechanism of putting this within a legal framework that will allow them to have CAS. From where I see it, I think they're very critical. The way they've been defined, their roles, they're very critical. And if this government intends on delivering on Kenyans and they feel this is a critical cog on what they're going to do to Kenyans, there is no reason why we should, you know, find ways of blocking that. You know, for me, it's just a question of if they follow the due process. I think the CAS positions are likely to help Kenyans a lot more by providing that link.
What did they do in the last government, for example?
Yes. You
I think what we are saying in very many words on this, and we appear to actually agree on this one, is that if there is need, can we do it following the law? Because there is no law that stops the president from creating a position in the public service.
That's true.
What he only needs to do is to go according to the law. And that for me, the only point I've actually picked out that I think is important is that the president should not start off with ignoring court orders. There is a court order obtained by LSK to pause the process until the case they have. And PSC, for example, has not gone to court. The AG has not gone to challenge that or have that lifted, but PSC went ahead and declared a clarification that told people to continue. So it's true that we understand that the executive, as had been thought about by the constitution makers, was not as responsive as we were used to it. We had CSS, honestly, who are very much far removed from the people. Somehow they used to go to parliament and look down to the people's representative. So
play games.
And you look at the job description as done out there for the CAS. Correct. I might not agree on so many other things, but being political affairs officers who link up the executive, parliament, and then the people, it's okay. What the president needs to do, and he should stick to that, he has started by doing away with these extrajudicial ways of doing things. He should not ignore the court order. PSC should wait or go to court and have that lifted. So simple.
Agreed. Fully.